Hey, I've been meaning to talk to you about something personal. I'm married, but my wife and I don't live together.
Really? That's unusual. What's going on?
Well, it's a long story. We decided to live separately due to work commitments. It's been challenging, but we're making it work.
That sounds tough. How do you manage the distance?
Communication is key for us. We have regular calls, video chats, and visit each other whenever possible. It's not ideal, but we're trying to maintain our connection.
Do you miss living together?
Definitely. There's a certain intimacy and routine that comes with cohabitation. But we made this choice for career reasons, and we believe it's a temporary situation.
Are there any misconceptions people have about your situation?
Oh, plenty. Some think our marriage is on the rocks, but it's not. It's more about adapting to circumstances. Others assume it's an unconventional arrangement, but it's really about making sacrifices for our respective careers.
How do friends and family react to this arrangement?
It's a mixed bag. Some are supportive, understanding the reasons behind it. Others are more skeptical, thinking we're avoiding facing issues. It's a bit challenging navigating those opinions.
Has this situation affected your relationship in any unexpected ways?
Surprisingly, it strengthened our communication skills. We're forced to express ourselves clearly and deal with issues head on since we can't rely on physical presence to convey emotions.
Do you see this living arrangement changing in the future?
We hope so. The plan is to reunite once our careers allow for more flexibility. It's a temporary sacrifice for long-term goals, but we're both working towards a time when we can live together again.
It sounds like you've put a lot of thought into this. How do you cope with the challenges?
It's not easy, but focusing on the bigger picture helps. We also make sure to cherish the time we do spend together and celebrate the small victories, like overcoming the hurdles that distance throws at us.
I can imagine that maintaining a relationship under those circumstances is incredibly challenging. Have you noticed any recent changes that make you think the relationship might be worsening?
Yeah, it's been tough lately. The physical distance is taking a toll, and we've been having more disagreements. It's like the little things that we used to overlook are now becoming bigger issues.
That's understandable. Distance can magnify existing issues. Have you both talked about these disagreements?
We have, but the discussions sometimes turn into arguments. It's frustrating because we want to connect, but the distance makes it harder to understand each other.
Have you considered seeking professional help, like couples counseling?
We've talked about it, but the logistics are complicated with our living situations. It's not easy to find a counselor who can accommodate our unique circumstances.
Are there specific challenges that have emerged recently, aside from the distance?
Trust has become a bigger issue. Not being physically present makes it harder to feel connected, and insecurities have started to creep in.
Have you both discussed ways to rebuild trust and address these insecurities?
We've tried, but it's challenging. It's like we're caught in this cycle where the distance causes issues, and the issues make the distance feel even more daunting.
It sounds like you're in a difficult spot. Have you considered reassessing the living situation and exploring alternative arrangements?
We have, but it's not a straightforward decision. Both our careers are still tied to different locations, and making a change would require significant sacrifices.
It's a complex situation, no doubt. Do you think there's a breaking point? Or do you believe you can find a way through these challenges?
I honestly don't know. There are moments when it feels like we're drifting apart, and other times when we're determined to make it work. It's a constant emotional roller coaster, and lately, it feels like we're caught in a loop of miscommunication, and I'm not sure how to break free from it.
Miscommunication can be a common challenge in long-distance relationships. Have you both tried any strategies to improve communication?
We've attempted setting aside dedicated time for meaningful conversations, but the pressure from work and other responsibilities often seeps into those moments. It's like we're struggling to find a balance.
Finding that balance can indeed be tricky, especially when external factors are pressing. Have you considered revisiting the expectations you've set for communication and finding more flexible approaches?
Maybe we need to reassess our expectations and be more adaptable. It's just hard to shake off the feeling that the distance is causing a gradual drift.
Do you think introducing more activities or shared experiences, even virtually, could help strengthen your bond?
We've tried, but it's challenging to recreate the spontaneity and shared moments that come with living together. Virtual experiences can only do so much, and it feels like we're yearning for something more tangible.
Have you considered planning for a future where you can be physically together again? Having a shared goal might provide a renewed sense of purpose and direction.
We do talk about it, and it's our long-term plan. But the uncertainty of when it will happen makes it hard to stay motivated. Sometimes, it feels like we're just going through the motions.
Maybe setting smaller, more achievable milestones could help create a sense of progress and keep the motivation alive.
Good suggestion. Breaking down the larger goal into smaller steps might make it more manageable. It's just challenging to see the light at the end of the tunnel right now.
I can understand that. It's okay to feel overwhelmed, and acknowledging those feelings is an important step. Have you considered seeking support from friends or family who may have gone through similar situations?
We haven't reached out to others much. There's a fear of judgment or people not fully grasping our unique circumstances. But maybe it's time to reconsider and seek guidance from those who care about us.
Opening up to trusted friends or family could provide valuable perspectives and emotional support. It's crucial to have a support system, especially when facing challenges in a relationship.
You're right. It's time to break out of this isolation and seek advice. Maybe hearing different perspectives will help us see things in a new light and guide us toward a solution. It's just, lately, it feels like the situation is getting worse. The disagreements are getting more intense, and there's a growing emotional distance.
I'm sorry to hear that things are escalating. Have you and your partner identified specific triggers for these disagreements?
It's a mix of things. The frustration from the distance, coupled with unresolved issues from the past, seems to resurface. We've tried addressing them, but it's like we're stuck in this cycle of revisiting the same problems.
So have you considered seeking help, perhaps through online counseling, to navigate these deeper issues?
We've talked about it, but there's a reluctance to involve a third party. It's like admitting that we can't handle our problems on our own, and that's tough to accept.
Seeking help isn't a sign of weakness. It's a proactive step to strengthen your relationship. Professional counselors are trained to guide couples through challenging situations. It might be worth reconsidering.
I hear you. Maybe it's time to have a more serious conversation about the need for external support. It just feels like we're running out of options.
Have you also discussed the possibility of spending more time together in person, even if temporarily?
It's a tricky aspect. Both of our work commitments remain a significant barrier. It's challenging to find a solution that doesn't require sacrificing our professional goals.
Balancing personal and professional aspirations is indeed complex. However, if the relationship is deteriorating, it might be worth revisiting your priorities and considering short-term adjustments for the sake of your long-term well-being.
It's a tough decision. We're both torn between our careers and the relationship. The fear of making the wrong choice looms large.
Maybe setting aside dedicated time for a thorough, open conversation about your priorities and the future could bring some clarity.
You're right. It's time for a serious, honest conversation. We need to lay everything out on the table and make some difficult decisions.
It takes courage to face these challenges head on. Remember, whether the outcome is positive or involves tough choices, prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being is crucial.
I appreciate your support and advice. It's a difficult journey, but hopefully we can find a path forward that brings us both peace and happiness.
I'm here for you. Relationships can be incredibly resilient, and sometimes facing these difficult moments can lead to positive changes. Take your time, and I hope you find the clarity you're seeking.